Welcome back, everybody, to On the Edge of Shadow. This is the Reaper King, Session 8. After the Battle of the Great Grey River Basin, the first of many conflicts, as it turns out that it will be, our heroes, Shihane, led by the beautiful sutras chanted to the great goddess of carnage from the bellowing lungs of Blogvir, the ogre, led his companions as well as Gilfek into battle against the horrible cultists that have been haunting these lands and stealing the magics from the shamans of the valley. Now, the night passed with quite a bit of bloodshed and carnage. The great goddess has been made to be very satisfied and very intoxicated with the blood of the fallen. So, the Atlantean babushka and one of a small group of her assistants, her guard, if you will, tended to the wounds of the fallen. You have been placed on sleds and are being dragged up the hill. You have an escort of about 20 Atlantean infantry as Shihane himself is dragging up the hill with a lock of this greasy, matted, horrible hair from the giant that he's slain the night previously. It's all greasy and awful, and he loses his grip. The hair and the braids of the strands of this giant's head are like the mooring ropes of the Titanic, but they are unkept and filthy. The curtain closes on the stage for a few moments as we backtrack into the night previously. We see ourselves gazing down from the ceiling up to Skarnir's feverish face. He has been drifting in and out of consciousness for the past 18 to 20 some odd hours, just mumbling gibberish and whatever horrible nightmares that he has been subjected to. The babushka has been clearing the sweat away from his brow and watering him as the night has gone, and hopefully by morning his fever will abate. There's one instance where the cries of battle and the screams of dying men, goblin, mortal, and sub-mortal, have drifted up the hill and to Skarnir's feverish dreams. He doesn't have the strength to sit up in bed, however, but what are the words that come from his lips when he hears the sounds of battle?
Ah, no, don't let the piglets get my toes!
Beautifully done. The babushka reaches over with a wet towel, and she goes, "Shh. The piglets will not get your toes. I will keep you safe, my child." And you drift back into the land of Morpheus, the land of dreams, that shadow-haunted place, amorphous and ever-changing. We cut back to the morning, and now you are met at the village gate by the priest Shelka. He is a priest, the village priest of the Forge Lord, the deity responsible for the knowledge of bronze. What do you, as well as your escort, do when you are delivered to the doorstep of your temporary home?
Gilfek is his leg is still in tatters. He's going, so he's not moving much. What would Blogveer be, and what kind of condition would he be at this point?
He is in and out of consciousness. He's been given what passes for the good drugs at this time. He's still in a lot of pain. I would say, yeah, he's still out cold.
So Gilthek would just try to get comfortable sitting down, trying to get his leg in a position where he's not moving it too much, and clutching what's left of the spear, which is nearly become a dagger at this point. Yeah, after it's been broken so many times, he'll rub his fingers across the engravings and think back to when this was presented to him by his wife. He'll look over to Blogveer, drifting in and out of consciousness, and he'll try to ignore the pain and try to lay back and try to let himself sleep. He knows that he's not any use to anyone right now, and that every waking moment is nothing but more pain, and he just wants to escape it all, if only for a bit, and hope that he can dream of his family again. And then he'll lay back and try and enter the dream.
There's been a couple times where you'll attempt to get comfortable and lay back down on this sled you're being pulled on, and one of the Atlanteans that you're assuming he passes as a medic, he says something to you in this alien language that you couldn't make heads or tails of, but it's his tone that rings true in his meaning. He says something to the tune of "Lay still, it'll heal faster," and then he says a few more things in this poetic diatribe, and it sounds like he's singing, but you drift off to unconsciousness. But Skarnir is upright and breathing at this time. His fever has abated about an hour or so previously. You are amongst a mob that meets the Atlanteans at the fence, at that open gate. Your companions over the past several chains now are broken and bloodied, but in the early morning mist you see down in the valley, there is a sea of blood and bodies. To the west, just across the river, you see the rest of the Atlantean column just fading into the haze of the horizon. What do you do?
Damn it, I missed it. Oh man, I'm hungry for some salted pork for some reason. Anyway, good to see you are all, at least for the most part, well.
Gilfek, for the most part, I can't walk, and Blogveer's out cold. Unless you consider being alive well.
I do.
Then I suppose we're all very well, yes.
Because you can always come back from being unconscious, or come back from having a wounded leg. Just gotta be careful not to make it worse. But you can't come back from not breathing, I think.
And it's good to see you back up on your feet, too. We were worried for you there.
I won't be beaten by some fever. That would make for a good story, I think.
At this time, Shihan drags his severed giant head by the hair into the midst of the camp, and sits down on a log and rubs the rubs the sweat from his brow. He just he doesn't have enough strength to talk at the moment. He just looks at Skarnir, smirks, and he goes, "There's your story." He points to his head, the trophy he's taken.
Oh, how's it going to tell a story when it's got no body to speak with?
I slew a giant with a single arrow. Through the
Is it?
eye, Skarnir. He points to his eye. Through the eye and into the brains.
Interesting. I suppose that's impressive.
Oh, you suppose. He stands up and he kind of just. This is now chest puffing. Now it's playful tough guy talk. But you suppose it's a good story. Oh, is it?
Yeah. Skarnir will take both hands and give give Sheehan a solid clap. Mighty impressive.
That's much better.
Like I said, glad to see you well. It wouldn't do for me to lose out on the resident fairy companion.
Oh, you'd miss me so?
Yes, who else would I jab?
No. I love your company too, my friend.
Hey, I never said anything about loving your company.
Oh, well, fair enough. Now, we rest, he says, and sitting back down on his log. For obvious reasons, he glances over at the other half of your company. A couple of the Atlanteans stand there awkwardly as they try to break the language barrier with Shelka, the local priest. And one of which seems to have grasped a modicum of the Nemersian tongue, and he goes on to explain. You're far enough away where you're not getting the whole conversation, but it's a brief battle report and a warning as the cultists may be defeated or scattered, but they are still in the area. Shelka takes this information and nods and bids the invaders well and safe travels, albeit there may be a kind of a begrudging travel safely there.
And we had a prisoner with us too, didn't we?
You do. You have well, let's see. Actually, no. It was the chieftain of the Kingfisher tribe of trollmen, and he is still broken and bloody, and he's still out cold, but he's breathing, thankfully.
Feels like a look over to Blogvir as all this is going on, and felling a giant with a single arrow and taking a chieftain prisoner. The most impressive thing that happened on our end was Blogvir got ran through by a giant and survived. But I suppose that's a tale of its own.
Yeah, it's its own form of impressive, I suppose. Good to see the big guy is still breathing. He didn't kill too many of our quote-unquote allied Atlanteans, did he?
No, not a single one, surprising. They saved his life, and I only think that made them hate him even more, though, to be honest with you.
Yes, that seems like it would be an odd bit of cognitive dissonance for him.
Shihane looks up to say he's going to be utterly livid when he wakes up.
That'll be a sight to see.
An angry ogre? I want to be in the next town when it happens.
Really? I look forward to it.
On the battlefield, he sent bodies flying, and I think he actually killed someone by smacking a body so hard it flew and hit into him and crushed them too.
The priest Shelka comes over and surveys Blogvir's chest gently, but still labored. His chest rises and falls rhythmically with his breathing. kind of leans over and listens to his breathing through his nose. Chaka pauses. Well, he's not gurgling, so that's good. No, he'll be asleep for some time yet. I've never treated ogre wounds before, he says. So I suppose he didn't bleed to death. Thankfully, he wouldn't be breathing, obviously, if he had. And he just points to this seared over wound on his left hand side and says, "What got him?"
Magic.
Magic.
Atlantean magic. They seared his wound shut.
With fire?
With lightning.
With light. He points to the sky with thunder, lightning.
Yes. It came from his hands. They wielded it on the battlefield and flung it about. It was like a light show in the middle of the night. You'd mistaken it for day at times.
He just watches the rest of that troop of Atlanteans moving across the river now. That's some powerful sorcery that they have there. Must speak to the chieftain about such sorcery. We may have issues in the future.
You said you never treated an ogre wound, but you have ogres that live about here. Would one of them know how to treat their own?
Of course they would. You should be able to approach them. They live here.
And then Gilfick will look towards Skarnir. It's like, well, friend, I'm not in the position to be moving about, but if you could find someone, some ogre to help tend.
I'll send somebody to you, don't worry. Just rest well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I'm not exactly the most cordial person to go asking somebody for help.
You are drug like sacks of potatoes to your hovel and then deposited indoors, made as comfortably as possible. And Shihane sits out back, rendering his head down into this is a stark white giant skull. He's doing something with it. He's just something gross and taxidermy like, but he'll be dismissing himself for the time. What is Skarnir going to be doing for I suppose the rest of that day, as your companions are quite winded?
Let's see. Skarnir will probably be seeing if there's any work that needs to be helped out with around the village.
There's plenty of need for hunters. They have a handful of individuals that are attempting to capture wild goats and possibly help to domesticate them. More food for the village, you see. And you can spend your next few chains hunting with them if you like.
Ah, certainly. I can carry at least 10 goats at once.
Fantastic here. Give me a second while we are inviting Keith. He should be here shortly. Alan, is that your PC doing that?
What?
The Microsoft message sent signal.
Oh yeah, every time somebody does that in the chat, that pops up. I think if I mute myself.
Okay. we'll say it's currently the dry season, so it's kind of a scorcher out today. It's about 82 some odd degrees. It's not terribly humid, but if those of you who are wearing furs might be burning up. For Skarnir's company, he leaves the village every few days with a group of 8 or 9 other hunters, and you bring back boars, you bring back wild pigs, goats. Someone even attempts to bring back a Ragman steed, with a primordial horse with the ancient stripes in the legs, but the poor thing got spooked and ran off.
Shame. Would have been nice.
Well, let's see, on the second day of hunting. All right, so you find a herd of wild horses. This species, like I said previously, is known as the Ragman steed. And a couple of villagers have said that they have seen the Atlanteans ride such beasts here ever since they had come ashore, made themselves at home, unwelcome or not. But taming these beasts to become steeds is a feat that the Nemercians, as a people, have not discovered yet. Word has gotten around the village that you yourself are indeed a tamer of wild beasts and an intimidator of predators. Oh, here, hang on. We're still trying to get Keith in here. Sorry about that. It's been a few days yet, but I suppose Blogveer has woken up. He's still feeling quite sore, but you are fully conscious now.
What's going on? Where am I? You're back in the village. Did we win?
Yeah, we won.
Yes. I showed that giant, didn't I?
You weren't the one who killed it. The Atlanteans did, remember?
Atlanteans. Fish fuckers. Oh! And grab his side. God's cursed them all.
Skarnir's back up at least. He beat a sickness.
Good. Dying in a bed does not befit him. Oh.
Sitting around on the bed all day doesn't befit us either, but I get my legs shattered. I can't move, and you're barely conscious.
We're a pair, aren't we? Well, at least we're alive.
Skarnir said the same.
Although I may die from boredom sitting here waiting to heal. Oh, I'm starving. Was there any food? Oh, God damn it all.
You are brought everything that you could possibly need. It's mostly salted pork and what's left of the boar from the every few days hunt, but still, nonetheless, there's plenty of food there.
Blogveer will greedily start devouring it. He tries not to eat too fast because he doesn't want to be sick, but he's hungry, so he just salt pork and delicious. And he just quaffs down whatever mead, water, whatever is nearby. It just, all in his beard, trickling down, and he just gorged himself. Felt like he hasn't eaten in, many chains, so he just starts eating.
We'll say out in the fields at this time, Skarnir, do you wish to attempt to actually capture one of these things, or are you just going to, I suppose, watch them graze?
Skarnir will always attempt something.
Oh my god. Of course. Okay. Now, since this will be the first time we're actually testing out Beastcraft, so Skarnir, the master beast tamer, let's hear it.
So, in an odd moment of reflection and deep thought, Skarnir is crouched in the brush, looking at this herd, thinking about how exactly to get his hands on a beast that is as fast as one of these. Now, we could try surrounding it, but it might be able to slip through the gaps before we can actually get close enough to it. What do you lot make of it?
None of us have ever attempted to capture the Ragman's steed before. This is a task you will do by yourself. We are shepherds and pig hunters. So that's a beast that we have no experience with.
I see. Well, pig farmer, how about we make history?
He just looks on quizzically and maybe a little intimidated by your presence, but nevertheless he just nods and all right.
So, here's what we'll do. I am going to go off yonder that direction and lay low. I'm gonna have a few of you boys sneak around, get a few directions covered, and scare them specifically towards me. If we can get them close enough, I might be able to cut them off and grab them.
You're all right. We can attempt that.
If nothing else, it's called trial and error. If this doesn't work, we can try again.
Well, they will skulk off into the tall grass, and let's see how they do. Astonishingly, they do indeed get into position for you.
Oh, thank God.
But a couple of these beasts have spotted them, but they kind of registering them as non-predatory, so they go back to grazing. But it's the kind of like, I'm going to keep my eye on you, but we don't sweat you.
All right. With them in position, Skarnir will go to his area. Trying to find a place that looks like an ideal area the Ragman steed would try to run if pursued.
Well, this animal, in your experience, has a mostly a flight response in response to danger. So it'll be a wild card as to how they'll scatter. But one of the hunters does spook the herd, and they tend to the entire group is going to kind of veer off in one direction, but there is one that's kind of straggling that you can attempt to intimidate or use your beastcraft on, unless you like legit want to reach out and grab a full out galloping horse.
As much as I would appreciate Skarnir doing something like that, I'm going to try Beastcraft. Wait, actually, what were the options again?
You can either try and grab a running horse or attempt a skill roll. Probably
All right,
with
yeah.
your cloak, you know.
Yeah, probably skill roll.
All right, so what we're going to do is a wild lore test initially.
Perfect. Ooh, that explodes.
Oh,
All right, that's going to be 8 plus 6. That's 14. 14 plus 3, 17, 23. That's 26.
oh my God, Jesus, dude, nice.
As Skarnir rises from the brush with both hands, spreads the cloak out, revealing like the fake eyes, and tries to, impress his will onto the steeds.
Okay, all right. Well, let me see here.
In his first attempt at something like this, so he
I
has
think
no
this
idea
is what I'm
what to
supposed to be doing.
expect. It's like, sure, I just scared into submission.
Well, here. Let's see. Let's see what this thing does. Ooh, okay. So so I'm assuming you stand up from the brush. You pull your cloak wide and revealing those big eyes. And so what happens with that like amazing roll there? Since the Ragman steed does have the timid trait, so it attempted to re-roll against you, communing with it, and it absolutely failed with a big old 3. So it's just kind of like trying to edge away from you, but its head is lowered. It is submissive at this time, and what you can attempt to do here is possibly a what do you have husbandry, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what you're going to need is a husbandry. That is going to be, you're going to need a 15 or more to actually approach this thing.
Got it. All right, that's promising. That is 18.
Ooh. Okay, so this thing, it has successfully been kowtowed to you. And you are able to approach and possibly touch the thing if need be. If that is what
All
you
right.
wish.
Skarnir, releases the cloak, holds his hands open in front of him to show he doesn't have anything, and carefully approaches, moving one hand slowly in front of the Ragman steed's snout.
Okay. The thing takes a few moments, but it does sniff you and allow you to approach. It's still quite intimidated, as it initially perceived you as an enormous predator with those huge eyes, but now there's a kind of a tenderness and gentleness there. It's severely confused and curious.
So he'll carefully pet the bridge of the nose. Let's see. I don't think Skarnir would have anything these animals would like to eat on him.
Mostly grass at this point. I mean, you could just reach down and grab a handful.
Yeah, he'll grab a handful of grass and see about trying to feed the thing.
Well, ooh, okay, yeah. The thing does indeed eat from your hand.
Aha! Yes, that's a good little steed.
Now, let's see here. You can attempt to issue it a command to possibly follow, but you might need rope for that. You might need a lead of some kind.
Oh god, let's see. Do I have rope? I don't think I have rope. I really should have rope.
You do notice that a couple of the hunters have attempted to approach you, but they and a couple of them do indeed have rope on them. But it may or may not be a delicate situation for you to have more of your kind in this kind of interaction.
Yeah. Looking over at one of the hunters, he'll put a hand up, telling them to stay where they are. Gesture to one of them who has, I don't know, do they have rope visible on them or just somewhere in their pack?
Oh yeah, they've got rope visible on them.
All right, he'll gesture to the rope and then point to the ground, be like, leave the rope, and then back away.
Okay, they leave a length of rope on a kind of a boulder nearby, just so you can see, and then they dismiss themselves to continue hunting elsewhere. And here, let me see. I will get you an image of the thing that you're actually dealing with.
Personally, I'm familiar with them myself, but
Oh, okay. So you've actually seen. I actually
Yeah.
posted it in the group. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about here.
yeah, I'm familiar with them.
But yes, the thing, as long as you are steadily feeding grass into its face, it's going to be standing there watching you, I suppose.
Carefully with his hand, he'll sort of, put a hand, on the back of its neck and start to lead it over towards the rope.
Okay.
You're not super forceful, just, putting pressure, being like this way.
You're guiding it, yeah.
Yes.
So yes, the thing does indeed follow you. You get it over to that boulder with the rope on it.
All right. He'll give it a bit more grass and then pick up the rope and attempt to finagle a orientation for it that would allow him to lead this creature.
Does he have grades in knots at all?
He has 1 grade in knots.
Fantastic. You can tie a square knot. He's not an Eagle Scout, ladies and gentlemen. He's just a Cub Scout. So, okay. Make a knots check for me.
All right, that's going to be 10.
Okay, that yeah, you tie a pretty snug knot, albeit a rather simple and with no finesse square knot, but as a knot is a knot. And you got the thing around the horse's neck, so yeah, you actually can attempt to get it back to the village with use of husbandry.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so all right, roll it, man. Most of these are going to be opposing attacking tests, but
Yeah.
that's the gist of it.
That one is going to be 14.
Oh, fantastic! It rolled a 9, so yeah, it's following you so long as you're feeding it.
Oh yeah. Like every, like 50 feet, he'll pick up more grass to make sure he always has some in hand.
Good. It takes you, I suppose, the rest of that day to get back to the village and to gently, ever so painfully, carefully, to get that thing into the village and accustomed to the rest of humanity, really, and begin the domestication process.
Woohoo!
Blogveer, however, you are able to stand, but it is quite labored. It doesn't hurt. It hurts to move, but laying down has kind of forced you to stand. It's not fun for an ogre to lay down and not do work for a while.
Well, I guess I will, alternate, get up, stretch my legs a little bit, try not to move as much as possible if I'm in pain, not to open any wounds. Maybe try to leave the hut and walk outside. Baby steps. Slowly I'll get there. So, just alternate between laying down and getting up and walking around a little bit.
Okay. So we will fast forward a handful of chains. I did a bit of research for Gilfek's leg. Apparently, in ancient times, it took the same amount of time for a broken leg to heal as it does now. What we have with modern medicine today is that luxury that we all take for granted called comfort. So the next 6 to 8 weeks for Gilfek is probably going to be hell. But as they did indeed set your bone properly and have wrapped you up and made you comfortable and snug, they're taking any moment that they can to put water down your throat and stuff your face with as much food as possible, because if you're eating, you're healing. That's kind of their mindset here.
Yep, over the time, he's definitely going to be going a little bit stir crazy, sitting around, and he'll just try to talk to any of the villagers who come by and just try to keep his mind occupied, keep his mind off the pain over the next few chains.
The villagers that have been tending you, they go to the length of actually opening up the hut. Now, the hut and hovel is kind of made of bone, dried skin, bunch of furs, and logs. So what they've done is instead of like a big dome shape, they open half of it so you can actually see. It's got a really big wide door now. It's more like a lean-to / tent. So you're not quite like cramped in there and there's no sunlight. It'll keep you out of the rain and it'll keep you warm at night, but it's a little less psychologically crippling, if you will. We'll use that term there.
Yeah, Gilfek will definitely appreciate this and watch people as they go past the hut, and just try to guess what they're doing in his own head, and just trying his best to keep his mind occupied and constantly thinking about something.
Most of this time, Shihane will you'll be walking the palisade, you'll be walking the outer wall, you'll be scouting in the fields, you'll be taking a handful of trips to that standing stone, and you'll find a handful of things there, but he'll keep his discoveries to himself for now. The babushka comes back and tends to your leg, administers a primitive painkiller about 3 times a day to keep Gilfek's pain down, and she'll give him a tea at night that completely knocks him out cold. He may as well be dead and in the land of the dead, and going back and forth from there to the land of Morpheus until the sun rises. 3 chains pass at this time, and Skarnir, I need a husbandry test from him.
It would be my pleasure.
I am just going to assume for the next 6 to 8 weeks he is going to be working with his steed.
Oh, yeah. That is going to be a really solid check.
Oh.
Yeah. The first roll was an 8 and a 7, followed by a prompt 5.
Ooh.
That's going to be 26.
In those past 3 chains, you have taught the thing, your steed now, to be accustomed to human presence as well as the presence of your companions.
That's good.
What you have now is just an enormous dog.
Yes! That's a step in the right direction.
Now, there have been a handful of incursions with the trollmen cannibals over the next few days, but nothing that would be dangerous. The local militia has pushed them back across the river, and life settles down to kind of a boring, monotonous village life. You guys will be indeed quite bored in this time. Gilfek, by the end of the month, we'll say, actually, you know what? We'll say next 2 months, you're beginning to heal. It is sore. It actually less hurts in the bone and more hurts in the muscle as you've been on your back for this time. A couple of the more beautiful village women are volunteering to help you with your physical therapy and helping you stretch your legs, if you know what I mean. They are indeed quite attracted to that beard that reaches your knees.
Yes, and his beard, that's something else he'll be doing, is tending to the beard as well throughout the days, just keeping it clean, keeping it well kept. He hasn't tended to it in a while in his travels with Logveer, but he thought, well, now's as good a time as any. Being cooped up for so long, he's going to be spending a lot of his free time tending to it, possibly braiding it.
A couple of the girls will offer to help you braid your beard, but as your custom is, technically only your wife is allowed to help you braid your beard, but as he is now single again, that is completely up to him.
No, he'd do it himself. Like, he is like, no, like, I'm just, none of you know enough about my beard. You don't know about beards, you don't have a beard yourself type thing. And he doesn't want anybody. I mean, maybe that I doubt he'd offer, but maybe that one, the village chief that he was talking to, that would be probably the only person that he would even think about letting help him because of that beard he had on him. But no, unless somebody is intimate knowledge of beard, he doesn't care about letting anybody else do it. He's going to do it himself.
Okay. But no, they if you tell them no, they will respect your wishes. They don't have any bearded folk in their village to speak with, so their your culture is somewhat alien to them. After now this next 2 month period, what has Blogveer been doing as that wound is slowly turned into a kind of a purple scar?
Well, I mean, in the honor of Skarnir, he tells everybody that will listen the heroic battle of how he, single-handedly killed, half the goblin horde, and killed a giant by himself, on some accounts, depending on who you ask.
Make
And
sure Shihan's not around. So
there were two giants. Okay, he can have the one. I cut the other one. But also he is talking to, I'm guessing, the blacksmithing village, maybe.
yeah, that would be Shelka. He is both.
Then I need to talk to Shelka because my stone hammer is about to break. It is worse for wear, and I need to talk to him about procuring another armament, or else I'm going to be fist fighting people. So I would try to talk to him about getting a new weapon.
Do you what exactly do you offer him or ask him of when you come
Well,
to him, say one day?
I mean, the only thing I have to offer is like uh, a favor, a chore. I mean, I'll do what he needs me to do. I don't have any, money or wealth. I just have what I have on my back. So, um, I would ask him like if there's anything he needed me to do, a favor for a task or something. Um, Anything that I can do to procure a new weapon.
Well, he offers to make you another club, which he says, well, it'll inevitably turn out to be a tree with a large bronze reinforcement, a giant cudgel, if you will.
Man, that's better than my almost, just shattered boulder I have in my hand. So I will take it, but I will do what he asked of me to pay him back.
What he sets you to work, basically village manual labor, helping with repairing the fence from the recent storms, the palisade, working in the fields. But
I also have academics that could try to teach people like Atlantean or other languages too during these many chains.
um, actually, that's actually quite valuable. Shelka will ask for you to teach himself and the chieftain, as well as a couple of the guards, the Atlantean tongue, as well as obviously working in the fields with the rest of the farmers and tending to the small flock of sheep that they have captured from the wild and they're beginning to domesticate here.
Do you need me to make a academics roll, or are we just saying that over the course I
We'll
eventually teach him?
I'll ask for one in a bit.
Okay.
A couple of these tasks, however, make you remember your lost love, as you did indeed tend her flock of sheep not too long ago. It may or may not sting to remember these things, but nevertheless, you.
It does, but he has to do what he has to do, but doesn't mean he has to like it. It brings back way too many painful memories, and it just reinforces his hatred for those fish fucking Atlanteans. And he's just seething right now. He's just building up. It's gonna pop one day. It's gonna pop. Um, he's done so well to wait this long. Um, but I mean, he can only take so much, and each day in the field just reminds him of how much he hates those Atlanteans. So yeah, it's just serving to just fuel his vengeance, basically. But he does what needs to be done. He'll just, grin and bear it, and just say, "Yeah, smile and nod, Mountain wave.
There's a bus coming, ladies and gentlemen. There's a bus. Now, a few more chains pass for Skarnir and his new steed, which he has probably yet to actually name at this point. You successfully have captured yourself a pet.
Yes,
Now,
he is mine.
a couple of the villagers are somewhat jealous of your companionship with this animal, and they're requesting that a couple of them actually request that you teach them the secret ways of beastcraft.
Ah, it would be my pleasure. But in exchange, I want you lot to help me brainstorm how to actually ride this thing.
Ha 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 ha! They have no idea.
Like, you've all... Did any of you see any of those Atlantean steed riders?
A couple of them nod.
How did they do it?
They point to the things back. Like, well, you sit on this part.
Okay, they didn't like tie anything else around it, or
There was furs and blankets over its back, but
okay, that's better than the thought I had of trying to put a chair up there. But
no. One of the village women says, "Well, one of these scouts had I noticed when I was down at the river fishing, had this thing he was holding on to that it was in its mouth. It was just a loop of rope, something. I don't know what it is."
a loop of rope. I see. Very well. And you said they rode on top of furs.
Yes, I like one would put furs or blankets on a chair to make it comfortable.
I see. You, small man, go fetch me a blanket. Actually, fetch me 2 blankets.
He comes back with 2 blankets and a bear hide, excuse me.
Perfect. Skarnir will pick up the lightest of the blankets, fold it into a neat little rectangle, and approach his pet that he needs to name at some point in time.
We're just going to call you until we figure out a name.
Yes.
You with the 4 legs.
Once he has established his presence, he will show the blanket to the horse.
He just looks on he sniffs it and looks at you and like, Laura, what are you gonna do with that?
This is a blanket.
The horse
I am going to put it over you. It is not eating you. And with that, Skarnir will edge his way around to the side and slowly drape the blanket over the beast's back.
The horse watches you the entire time with a questioning but vaguely indifferent look on its face.
Okay. With that...
sorry, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, with that, Skarnir would then try it with the heavier bear fur.
You rinse and repeat. It's a little heavier, so the thing just kind of like it didn't startle it, but with the feeling of a little bit more weight on its back, and kind of edges away from you and just kind of gives you this looks at its back, and then it goes back to eating the grass nearby.
All right. Now, said that it was a rope In its mouth. Okay. Woman, what kind of rope? Thick rope? Small rope?
Well, it looked like a small rope, a thin braid of leather, I'd say.
Ah,
Yeah,
fetch me one.
all right, she'll she goes off and gets you about 3 feet of rope. 3 feet of braided leather. There you go.
So, Skarnir will use his arms to sort of measure it out, like from where the animal's mouth is to around where he would be sitting, and then make a loop and tie it.
How exactly are you tying this rope to the animal?
Well, right now he's just making a loop, and then his initial thought was just have the horse bite onto part of it.
Okay. You're doing this in kind of like the front yard of your hovel there, so Gilfek can actually see this entire scene unfolding.
Good. Let him observe.
Does Gilfek say anything, or is he just looking on like,
He-
right, what the
He's
hell?"
looking at it like this is probably the most interesting thing he's seen in about a month or more. So he appreciates the entertainment, and he just kind of smiles to himself as he watches this. He's like, calls out, "Hey, if you get that thing to obey you, you gotta tie a sled so you can take me around the village with it."
Or you could get off your lazy hindquarters and get your own horse.
Oh shit.
I am a scientist, not a chauffeur.
Fine. Just remember that next time you need something from me, then.
Will do.
So you present this rope to the beast's face. He just sniffs at it and then snorts at you and goes back to grazing.
Okay. He's going to carefully take the rope,
Oh shit.
and as the beast is grazing, he's going to just loop it into its mouth as it goes to take a bite.
All right.
There's a lot of trial and error in this.
You fail as the thing pulls away from you and goes to another grassy part of the village hill.
Damn you!
You at
Okay.
this point have attracted the attention of much of the village at this point.
Okay. You, small man, over here.
The farmer looks up and small man.
Yes, you. Did I stutter?
He just looks at you, waiting for you to speak.
Come over here and turn around.
He, he does what you say.
We're going to do science. It's a fancy word from the East. Now tell me if this is uncomfortable to you at all. He's going to then loop the rope over the man's face and have him bite it and then pull.
And so yeah, he squirms. Yeah, it's so good. It hurts.
Okay. So if it's uncomfortable for you, it'll be uncomfortable for, Silvara! That shall be his name.
Yeah, he's just grazing, not giving a damn what the rest of you else are doing.
That's my boy. All right, you can go back to whatever it is you were doing before.
He just glares at you and leaves the
Yes,
village
yes.
to go to his field.
Okay. Need to think of a way to make this more comfortable and less unappealing. I shall think on this, but first I am hungry.
Shihane comes back to the village at this time from his rounds. He will leave by himself for about a 3 to 4 day expedition, but he always seems to come back blowing with the wind. It's mysterious and fey-like as anything that you've encountered in the Fae just so far. But he comes back to the tent perfectly in time with the three of you at home eating dinner one evening. He's got a sack of leather over his shoulder, and he goes, "I'm going to be bringing a few gifts to the Pike Lord. I should be back in a few days."
All right.
Okay.
Travel safe.
Yeah, just simply nods and travel safely and get well soon, my friends. I will be back. If you are to set out, in what direction are you planning to set out?
What direction were we going again?
Well, we have to sacrifice, don't we? Aren't we just waiting for the babushka so we can burn this man alive?
Is that what we were doing?
I think so.
Yes.
Right.
She just mentioned that the babushka has been preparing for a ritual for the Reaper King, and since you have captured a chieftain for the trollmen, he will be the first of the blood sacrifice for the Demon King. And the babushka has also mentioned that the Reaper King does not often take blood sacrifices, but in times of need, he will absolutely accept such a thing.
So are we gonna have to get more sacrifices?
Shihan replies, "We don't know yet. I don't believe that the Reaper King is anything like the great goddess Carnage, where she revels in many kills, as possibly one would be sufficient for the Reaper King. We shall see, though.
Oh,
This is a new thing for me as well."
I guess we'll just wait then.
And we still need to find a way to talk to them so we can find out where they're coming from, where the cult's held up at.
Well, they ran off in that direction when they broke from the battle. I just point in the direction that I think they ran off to. Maybe they're back in there somewhere. You're a hunter. I mean, you could track them, maybe.
I mean,
More meat.
probably.
Between the two of you, I'm sure. If not, then what good do we have for you? Use for you then?
Have you seen my horse?
What? That weird thing that's been eating grass outside?
Yes, that.
Or when are we gonna eat it?
Don't you dare.
Well, what good is it? It just sits there and eats all the grass.
It's for riding.
Just kind of lean out. Riding, yes, of course. You say so.
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to let you ride it, but me.
Well, good luck with that.
Yes. Now, do me a favor and bite down on this, he says as he holds a stick out.
I just slowly start chewing my meat and... Gilfek, you heard the man.
Oh, you keep that thing away from me.
No. You just pop it in your mouth like this, and like he puts it in his mouth like a dog trying to carry the stick over. I suppose I could have just done it, like I just did. I need to find something that's not quite so uncomfortable for something to chew on for an extended period of time. Maybe a bone.
Make it taste good.
Well, I don't want it to eat it.
Well, it'll give it
Besides-
incentive to keep chewing on it.
I mean, I suppose. But all that thing eats is grass. Can't exactly make something taste like grass.
My offer still stands. We could kill him and eat him.
Don't you
Okay.
dare.
You'll come around one day.
There is enough for you to eat around here without eating that.
Wonder what it tastes like.
Oh my
Have
gosh.
you been tying your steed to like a post, or are you just letting him freely just roam around?
Oh, I assumed there was like a pen for livestock.
No, they don't.
In
have
that case, yes, he would have been tying it.
Okay, well, I've been just assuming that you've been letting him wander wherever he's going. So, I mean,
No, I assumed there was like a cordoned off area for livestock.
No, they're very podunk here. They don't have fancy things like paddocks and shit.
Got it. Then yeah, he would have been tying it to a post outside.
Okay, so let's say every few days, you're gonna have to move the post to a grassier part of the hill. Otherwise, the hill, the grassy part behind around the village is gonna be bald.
See, I'm also creating the art of landscaping.
Man, Woody, what's he going on about Gil? I don't know. I think he's lost his marbles with that fever.
No, it just unlocked this concept called thinking and consideration.
Well, I can't see anything that's going on outside the hut. So
The front wall of the hut is wide open. You can see most of this going on.
don't know how many patches your beast is eating, but let's just
At
hope
this point in time, let's say 20.
let's just hope the villagers don't mind you stripping them all the grass.
It's grass. It grows back.
What happens if he eats all the grass?
It won't. Probably.
He's doing a pretty good job so far.
It's one horse. He can't eat that much. That said, he is my horse, so he could probably, well, eat a horse.
I mean, we could be eating a horse. Skarnir, just say the word.
You are not eating my horse. Go out and get your own.
You'll get the first bite, of course. It's your horse.
I don't want the first bite.
Very well, very well.
I'll tell you what, Blog, as soon as my leg's better, we'll go out and hunt your horse.
Too much work. Just have him bring it to me, like here.
You know, Blog, you got a point there. If you know how to get these things to just follow you, that's a pretty good way of hunting.
Or you could sell them.
Ooh. Selling tamed animals. Now there is an idea.
I think you're onto something there, Blog.
Shh, don't say anything. It's a $1 trillion idea. Shh.
I wouldn't call him tamed yet, but you keep going at it.
Well, yeah, it's work. You don't just catch it and sell it. You have to put work in. Skarnir gets a little glint in his eye. I could be one of those fancy pants merchants, traveling around, selling knickknacks and baubles to villages.
How do we go from livestock to knickknacks and baubles?
Just selling stuff in general. Like
don't
one
have
of
any
those
baubles.
little sleds that you had mentioned earlier. We could prop something up on it, carry around all the knickknacks and baubles, using tamed animals that we could also sell.
And when it dies, he is going to go catch another one.
Well, I mean, I assume they live more than, like, a year? Get a couple years out of one, that's not bad. In the meantime, when you're taming and selling other animals, you just carry.
And then when they die, you eat them.
Yes, and when they die, you eat them.
It all works out.
It's the circle of life.
A few days pass now, and it is finally that Skarnir realizes, just before he's about to turn in for the evening, that his steed, you have a working name for the thing, Silvara, actually sleeps standing up.
Fascinating. I bet I could sleep standing up.
Try it.
I will.
You fall the fuck over. All right. So, a handful of chains later, we'll say that now Blogveer and Gilfek are actually on their feet and able to perform tasks. Gilfek is given a walking stick for the meantime, as he's getting used to how his leg works again. Now, with that, I believe we'll probably call it for the evening there, guys.
All right.
Let's go ahead and do some closing soliloquies. We'll start out with Skarnir quick like. All right, take it away, man.
I swear it upon my axe. One of these days, I will manage to sleep standing up. But, in the meantime, I suppose I should actually do a realistic goal. Silvara, you will be my steed, just like those Atlanteans do. One of these days.
He just snorts at you.
That's my boy.
All right, Blogfear, take it away.
Well, at least Skarnir's not dead, and he's got a little pet. I just wonder how long it takes before it dies. Maybe I can get first dibs on it. Anyway, fuck those Atlanteans. Dirty horsens. What do they think, that they're gonna save my life and we call it even? Oh no, far from that. They should have let me die when they had the chance. They take my woman and they take my kill. That was my giant. I need their damn help with their gills and their fish flopping everywhere. Fish fucking bastards. Oh, just wait. Once I'm fully healed with this nice new club I got, yeah, I just gotta break it in. You know, wet it a little bit with Atlantean blood, yeah. Soak through, all through the wood, give it a nice patina, yeah. And then one day I'll find you. I'll find you, my love. I'll find you, and then we'll finally be mates. I swear it. I know you're still alive out there. And once we get done with this whole Reaper business, I'll set my sights on you. I ain't forgot about you. But we got cultists to kill, and Atlanteans to kill too.
Wonderfully done, my friend. All right, Gilfek, what do we do? What do we see? How stir crazy has he gotten in the past 3 months?
Gilfek thinks to himself, At last, I at least have a walking stick. I was about to lose my mind. I'd rather be walking up and down the streets, at least cloud watching and looking at the birds or the people go about their business, but that one spot, oh, my back's starting to hurt almost as my leg from being laid up so long. There's some, I don't know what's more insanity inducing, the stir just sitting in the one building, chains on end, the fact that we're not doing nothing. Well, at least the Skarnir got that horse thing, and then Blog has been helping out with the village, so it's not all wasted time. And Shihan's being the sneak FA he is and keeping to himself. I know he's up to something. That one's always up to something, but I'm sure that he has a good reason for whatever he's doing. He ain't betrayed us yet, and he seems like a good enough folk. I'll have to be talking to him soon, asking him about some things that I've been thinking we're gonna need to find that the village where they held up the cult, or base, or fort, or whatever it is. And if anyone is gonna know of how to do it, it's gonna be him. He's always resourceful. He'll find a way to make this trollman talk, or we'll find someone who can. Don't worry. He kind of thinks to his son. Don't worry, Muff. We'll find you.
Thank you, my friend. Now, at the mental reference to Shihane, like I said before, Shihane has been in and out. He blows in with the wind whenever he can, and he always comes back. Always comes back to the hour. He's been gone for about 4 days now, past his last check-in, and now that worry starts to set in. Some of you might feel that there is something distantly wrong, some shadowy haze surrounding him, or something has set upon him, but nevertheless, Gilfek senses that forebodingness in his beard, the tips of his beard, as it starts to radiate up and tingle all the way up into his chin. He wakes up one night, a cold shiver. He swears by all the gods old and new that he saw the face of the carved mask in the darkness. Just for a moment, you rub your eyes. What horribleness was that in the dark? What nightmarish thing came to visit the three of you in your slumbers? As you rouse yourself from the land of Morpheus, you utter just the word, Shihane. And as you say this, just like a puff of steam of your breath, almost as if winter in this room. And that is where we will end the session for this evening. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sorry about it being a short session tonight, but we will be back. Tonight is the last night that Google Hangouts will be a thing. So we will find a method to replace Google Hangouts. Damn it, Google. Damn it, YouTube. You're fucking us over. Good night, everybody.